All right, I think we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to your daily dose of awesome. Your life 50 minutes of daily motivation, inspiration, and education so you can get your day started right. I am back after about a week and a half hiatus. I've been under the weather. I actually wasn't able to speak very well for a few of those days, and if I start hacking all over this microphone, then I apologize. I will do my best. Fortunately, I won't be doing most of the talking. I have an incredible guest who I've really gotten to know really well over the past couple months. He is Mr. JT deBolt. JT, how you doing, brother?
I'm awesome. Good morning, my friend. Great to have you back, and glad that you're feeling better.
Thanks, man. Well, I'm still recovering, and I have my cough button here ready. In the radio world, they have a cough button so people can cough without it being heard over the air. But today, I wanted to introduce you to our community because some people may know who you are, and others may not. And so you have an incredibly inspiring story from your trials and tribulations, becoming a Navy pilot, serving in the armed forces, and being a combat veteran, to becoming a top producer in this industry, and now being an expert in leadership and professional development. And so I want to dive into your story and what you do. And I have some exciting news at the end of this broadcast that has directly to do with JT deBolt. And no, we are not going to sell you anything. The exciting news is nothing to do with us pitching anything, but it's going to make a huge impact on everyone who's a part of Elite Marketing Pro, our community members, our customers. So, but before I get into that, I want to quickly introduce myself to those that are watching that don't know who we are. My name is Fernie Sabalas. I'm a lead generation and online marketing expert specializing in helping home business owners, that's network marketers, affiliate marketers, direct sellers, multiply their incomes using the internet. I built my first six-figure network marketing business within a couple of years of discovering the online strategies we teach here at Elite Marketing Pro. And over the past 10 or so years, I've personally been responsible for over $15 million in gross income into my home businesses and have helped our clients produce hundreds of millions of dollars more collectively in their businesses as well. So what we do and teach works, and we focus on a very special area of network marketing, and that is anything that has to do with building a network marketing business using the internet, actually having a home-based business, as opposed to putting miles on your car and having home meetings and all that stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, in this modern era, those strategies tend to be very inefficient, and I'm all about efficiency. And as you will see, so is my buddy here, JT deBolt. So without further ado, JT, thanks for being on, man. I really appreciate you. Everything you've already done for this community. You were our MC at the No Excuses Summit, and you recently helped us out at our workshop, Fast Track to Freedom workshop in Los Angeles. And so I thought, what better time to have the community know you a little better. And so if you don't mind, I'd love for you to share a little bit of your story, your background. I know it's going to inspire people, especially those who don't think that they're cut out to be in this industry or cut out to pursue their dreams. Maybe you'll inspire a few of those people on the line who are about ready to give up on what they really want to do in life, and hopefully you can save them with your awesome story. So with that said, can you tell us a little bit about yourself first and foremost, man?
No pressure there, right? It's funny you say that, because the feeling to want to kind of surrender or give up, I think it hits everybody. And I know, Fernie, you are a major influence in a lot of people's lives, and you've accomplished a lot. My guess is you probably felt that too. And so the first thing I'd love to say about that is that it's very common at some point in the entrepreneurial journey to experience that feeling, almost like that feeling like I've given everything I've got. There's really nothing left in the tank. And I will tell you from personal experience, both as an entrepreneur and also, as you alluded to, as a naval aviator, that certainly happened. So, my background is, I grew up as a kid in a small town called Boise, Idaho, and not a very spectacular place to live. It's not like Los Angeles or San Diego or any place like that, or Seattle, where I currently live. But it was a good place to grow up, and it was a place where I grew up with the dream of becoming a naval aviator. And there's no Navy bases, there's not an Air Force base around, so it was kind of a unique desire. And I got the desire because, I was the byproduct of two bona fide war heroes. My granddad, which, you know, my dad's dad flew B-17 bombers in World War II. My mom's dad was he was on Pearl Harbor the day it got attacked. He was serving in the United States Navy. So he was actually a part of that legacy. And I just sort of took the two of those. I said, you know, if I could fly and if I could be in the Navy, wouldn't that be cool? Turns out the Navy has pilots, and the most prolific pilots they have are the Blue Angels. And that was the dream I always had. My challenge, though, was that while I had a big dream and a big vision for myself, most people in my life said it would never happen. So I was diagnosed very early in age with ADD, attention deficit disorder. And back then, now it's kind of like a cliche. You'll hear people say, oh, my ADD just kicked in. But back in those days, to hear something like that was not a good thing. In fact, you know, if memory serves, back in those days, people didn't really know what to do with it. They thought it could be, you know, something pretty damaging to, you know, anything. And so the expectations for me were very low. And I had people of influence, teachers, coaches, friends, very close family members that said, there's no way, you know, you're never going to be a Navy pilot. So to put it into context, in order to fly airplanes in the U.S. Navy, you have to be a commissioned officer, a fully commissioned officer. And in order to become a fully commissioned officer, you have to go to college and have a 4-year degree. I barely graduated high school. And so when I did, I enlisted in the Navy right out of high school. And, you know, I was on that path to go become a pilot. So they turned me into, you know, they sent me off to boot camp, and they send you to class, send you to school to learn your trade. And in my case, my trade was aircraft mechanic. And this is kind of the level that most people thought I would peak at. They thought you'll never go higher than being an aircraft mechanic. But I applied for the different programs the Navy had to become an officer with the intention of going from officer to pilot. And I applied 6 different times, which for me was the maximum amount of times. I could apply basically every 6 months. And so after that first year of my naval service, I had, you know, 6 months, every 6 months I put the application in, and every 6 months the application came back the exact same. The U.S. Navy turned me down. And when the Navy turns you down, they don't like put their arm around you and tell you, hey, you know, you're awesome, we appreciate you. They basically tell you you're not good enough. You're not cut out for this. Thanks, but no thanks. And good luck with your career. So when that 4 years was up, I had a decision to make. I could either stay on the path that everybody else had kind of written for me and, you know, say, hey, you've got a steady paycheck, you've got guaranteed employment. In fact, you're up for a promotion, or I could get out. And this was in the early 90s when the economy here in the United States was pretty soft. The job market was soft. And so to walk away from, you know, guaranteed benefits and to walk away from, you know, a guaranteed paycheck and in fact a promotion was a pretty huge risk. And most people thought I was nuts, but I had the dream of being a pilot. I didn't want to continue down this path that everybody else had written for me. And that's like the first lesson you have to realize as an entrepreneur is in your path to whatever it is you define as greatness, right? Your path to what you want to achieve in your business. Number one is you have to define it. You have to define what that looks like. Otherwise, other people will do it for you. They'll say, hey, you know, business isn't for you. You're not a business-minded person. You're not, you know, you're not organized enough. They'll give you all kinds of reasons why. And typically they're projecting it. You know what I mean? They're projecting their own fears, their own insecurities on you. So that's why it's so important for you to define for yourself who you really want to be, right? What you want to achieve for yourself and what that looks like. So that's what I had to do. And then I went to work. You know, I basically said, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I humbled myself. I was a dishwasher and a busboy in a restaurant. And then I would leave that job and go work as the deep fry guy over at Chili's. I was making the awesome blossom, I guess, you know, whatever that is. I don't know how awesome it is, but it's definitely not good for your health. But that's what I did. So I did that 7 days a week, worked for about a year doing that. And then I got a big break. A buddy of mine down in Southern California got me a job at an auto mechanic shop, changing oil and rotating tires. And then I want to say like 2004, I got a big break. Or it wasn't even 2004. It was way earlier than that. I started working construction. Now here's what you got to understand. I wasn't building houses. I was literally digging ditches. And so the guy with the backhoe would dig the trench, and then me and 2 other guys would jump in the trench with shovels and clear out the dirt, lay PVC pipe. And that's what we did. And we were doing this in South Central Los Angeles, like between Watts and Compton, you know, so not exactly a friendly place to be, but I didn't care. You got to remember, I had a vision. And that's really the next lesson that I would share is in your business, you have to have a vision that's bigger than your current circumstances. So you might be going through a tough time right now. You might be saying, hey, my marketing's not working like I want it to. The sales aren't converting yet. I haven't gotten the results, but you have to have something bigger that you're pushing towards, something that really means something to you. And then I just kept working, and eventually I had enough money. I went to a community college in Riverside, California. It was the best I could do with my academic background, which wasn't so strong. But I kicked ass. I studied, I applied myself, and I got pretty decent grades. I applied to a lot of different colleges, got accepted to the University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado, walked on to their ROTC program. And after 4 years of dedicated work, I not only earned my degree, but I earned my commission. I graduated #1 in my class of ROTC. I was the honor graduate. I got accepted to flight school. And then on September 7th, 2001, just 4 days before 9/11, I got accepted to and graduated flight school. Actually graduated flight school, earned my wings of gold. You can see them right back here on this placard. So that was the beginning of the first chapter of my life. And then, we can talk more about the entrepreneur side, but that's a little bit about me. I know it's a little bit long-winded, but hopefully that gives you guys some context about who I am and where I came from.
Yeah, brother, that's such an inspiring story, man. Describe the mindset that it takes in order to be just go after something against all odds. Like logic would tell you, even a normal person would hear the first part of your story and like, doesn't sound like it's in the cards. You're already out of the Navy. You're digging ditches. Like, how are you going to go from digging ditches to being a pilot? What type of mental fortitude does that take? Because I know a lot of people on this call. And by the way, if you're loving JT's story, you're inspired by his story, drop him a number 5. Give him a high 5 right now in the comment section here in our Facebook Live. But what would you say? How do you develop, or how do you what type of fortitude does that take in order to not give up on your dream of being a Navy pilot, especially when you're as low as digging ditches? Like, how does that happen? What does it take? Because again, a lot of people are maybe feeling a bit down in their business, having so far not have gotten the results that they want.
Well, I will say this. You said a key word there, and that's results. And I think a lot of times we have a tendency to attach our identity to our results. And so when those results go away, or our achievements are no longer valid or no longer timely, we have a tendency to feel like we've had our time, we've had our day. You hear people say, "Oh, the good old days," and they kind of are referring to when they were younger, when they were better looking, when they were healthier, when they were wealthier. And the unfortunate part about that is that the good old days they're never gone. We can create awesomeness right here, right now. You call this show the Daily Dose of Awesome because it's an opportunity. Every single day is an opportunity. And that's the way I looked at it. I woke up every single day. I wasn't necessarily happy, right? I was the opposite of content. So I had a mentor very early in my business career who used to have a saying. He said, "I'm grateful but not content." And I thought, man, I've been living my life by that. And the idea is, hey, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that the sun came up. I'm grateful I got another opportunity. And by the way, Fernie, there were days where I woke up to a complete, like, oh God, man, the problems never went away, right? The stress was still there when I woke up, but I was grateful that I had at least one more opportunity to get in the game and play that game full out. So, you asked about resilience. To me, it was just about, number one, embracing it, realizing that there is a reason why I'm up against so much, so many challenges, so many insurmountable odds, because what I'm going for is really big. It's significant. I'm not just here to punch a time clock and get a paycheck. If I was doing that, I could do that. I grew up, my first job when I was 16 years old was working in a fast food restaurant. And then I got a night job working as a janitor. I've always had the belief that there's no job beneath me. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I don't care. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get to my ultimate dream. The second thing, though, is that word dream. I want you guys to start thinking in terms of what you want to achieve as not a dream, but as your mission. Okay, so I am a mission accomplishment strategist, and I'm a leadership consultant. Those are my professional titles. But if you strip away those words, what do they really mean? What it means to me is I help people define and accomplish their personal missions in business and life. Because if you have a mission, you will not drop out on it. All right. You'll find any way you can in order to succeed. If you have goals, it's very easy to go, hey, I've set this goal, but I'm going to adjust the timeline, right? I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'll tweak it so that it works around my current feelings. You know what I mean? If it's a dream, it's very easy to give up on, because it's easy to say, hey, the dream was nice, but it really wasn't reality. If you have a mission, on the other hand, there's something tangible about it. You have a desired outcome. You've got, the objectives, the little checkpoints along the flight plan to success, as I like to call it. Those checkpoints are what keep you going. And then you keep moving. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to have all the answers. If right now you're sitting there with your business and you're saying to yourself, man, I've got to get results and this has to work, and you're coming from that place, that's the first tweak you have to make, right? The first tweak you have to make is get away from the I have to or I need to, because those are very disempowering words, very disempowering thoughts. Instead, the attitude I want you to take on is, I'm going to, I will. Because will is a certainty. When you say, I will do this, it's a certainty. And that's the mindset. That's the attitude you have to have in order to accomplish a mission. And so direct to your question, the reason I was able to keep going through it is I reframed it. It was not a goal. It was not a dream. It was my mission. And there was two certainties I had in life. Two things I know for sure. Either I'm going to become a naval aviator or I'm going to die trying. That's what I knew. And if you take that same attitude in business, you're unstoppable.
Awesome, man. I love that. I love because the mission has a whole different context to it. The Air Force or the Navy or the Army or the Marines, when they say this is your mission, it's not like, yeah, go give this a try and see if it works out. It's like, you have to get it done, for God, country, and yourself, because you're going to die if you don't get it done, basically. So
that's right.
Setting it up, positioning it as a mission is incredible. If you are gonna, if this is connecting with you right now, and you want to redefine your goals and your dreams as an actual mission, if you're willing to make that commitment right now in your business, drop me a number 3. Let me know that you want to redefine your goals and your dreams that you have now as a mission, and that you're not going to give up on it, just like JT has, because that's incredible way of looking at it. That's going to empower you, and I believe increase your probability of success, if not almost make it a certainty. So JT, now, because you have some experience in our industry as well, so while you were serving our country, I believe you were in Afghanistan, and God knows where else that you probably can't tell us where you were at. But while you were serving our country, an interesting opportunity came across your wife, Mia. She ended up looking at some opportunities for extra income. And so tell us about that story and how it went about, because I think people would be surprised to know that this top producer in this space was at one point not its greatest advocate. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's a very nice way of putting it, Bernie. Aside from the unlikely story of me becoming a naval aviator, the story of me being here talking to you right now is even more unlikely. My wife has always been pretty much she sees it before almost anybody else does. She's that kind of person, right? So we met in the Navy. We were on the same flight crew. She was my navigator. I was the pilot. And at that time, we were flying combat surveillance and reconnaissance over Afghanistan. So we were the eye in the sky for the SEAL teams and the Delta Force guys on the ground, looking out, tracking down the bad guys. We were kind of their eye in the sky. After that tour was over, she actually met a guy in our squadron that was reading a book that many of you have probably heard of called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, at that time, I'm trying to remember what it probably was around 2002, 2003 timeframe. I had no desire whatsoever to do anything entrepreneurial. I mean, listen, I wasn't one of those kids that was like the natural born entrepreneur. I didn't have a lemonade stand. I didn't have a paper route. I used to mow lawns. That was the one thing I kind of did that was kind of like my little side hustle when I was in high school. But other than that, I've never had a entrepreneur spark. And I never went to business school. I never had any of that kind of background, which is important to note. You don't have to. If you're brand new starting out, doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you say, I'm just not one of those natural born entrepreneurs. I'm living proof that you don't have to be. So Mia, my wife, started reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And this is about the time we had gotten engaged. We were going to get married. And she said, hey, I think that there's something bigger in life for us. And at the time, my vision was I was going to do my 20 plus years in the United States Navy and retire with a full pension, then move straight out of the Navy and into the airlines and get a pension as a retired airline pilot. So I have 2 pensions. Woohoo, right? I mean, talk about the ultimate employee mindset. But that's how I was wired. And she had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and said, hey, I think there's something bigger here. And I want you to read this book. And I said, I'm not reading that damn book. I know what I'm here for. And I'm going to go, I'm going to go be an airline pilot. And so one day I'm sitting there watching my beloved Seattle Seahawks, sitting on the couch, I'm watching the game. I'm totally into the game. And she goes, I have an ultimatum. You either read this book or else. And I'm like, listen, I don't care what the or else is. I'm watching the Seahawks. She said, JT, what if instead of watching the Seahawks, you could own the Seahawks? And I'm like, that's crazy. That's the nuttiest thing anybody's ever said to me outside of one day I'd be a naval aviator. But there was something about the way she said it. And I'm like, all right, I think you're crazy. She goes, no, here's what's crazy. You either read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or we're not getting married. So guess what? JT was reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad the next day. Actually, I think I dragged my feet as long as I could. I felt like it was a homework assignment. But I did. I read the book, and it did transform. It was one of the very first dominoes that had to fall in the transition of, sort of that employee mindset to being an entrepreneur. Went through, and I started to think, hey, I think the path is real estate investment, because to me that seemed like a real business, right? Now we're talking 2004, 5, and 6. And if anybody remembers 2004, 5, and 6 in this industry, or at least in this country, real estate was probably the worst place to be. But hey, to me, it seemed like a legit business. So I got unexpectedly deployed to Iraq in the spring of 2006. And this is like May 2006. My baby girl, Callie, was 1 year old. Mia and I had just gotten married, and I get deployed. A few weeks after I get to Iraq, now I'm on the ground in Iraq. I'm not flying missions. I'm a military liaison officer. She sends me an email and says, I got involved in this thing called network marketing. I'll be completely honest. I didn't know what it was. I had no idea what the term even meant. So I looked it up, and I'm like, what a scam. Like, what the heck did you just do? And she invested, a couple $1,000. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was, in my mind, I'm like, you got to be kidding. Like, you should have just gone to Vegas, and put that money on Red 25 or something. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. And I emailed her back, like literally this is how I email, hunt and peck. And I'm like, this thing is a scam, and it's not going to work. A few weeks later, the SEC actually shut that company down for fraudulent behavior. And she emails me back. She's heartbroken. She's like, unfortunately, this is what happened. And I'm like, ha ha, told you so. A couple of weeks after that occurrence, with my love and respect and appreciation for my wife in that email, obviously, of course, I'm being silly here. She emails me back, totally unencumbered by what I'd said. And she goes, I found another opportunity. And I'm like, babe, how many times do you have to be shown that this is BS? That this is a scam, this is fake. It doesn't exist. Let's stick with real estate because that's real. You can physically touch a building. You can physically open the door. You can physically see the product. What you're talking about is ones and zeros. It's all fake. It's zero. It doesn't mean anything. And she goes, just watch this. It's going to work. Guess what? A few weeks later, she emails me and says the company went under. And of course, what do you think I said? I'm like, ha ha, told you so. Now, imagine this is over the course of about 6 to 7 months. I've been deployed to Iraq. My attitude isn't exactly all that great to begin with. And I come home. She had signed up for the third company at this point. Now I come home, and instead of talking about it and being really excited about it, she kind of keeps it to herself. And she says, hey, I joined this third thing. It's something I'm very excited about, and I just want you to hit it with an open mind. I'm like, okay, whatever. What do you want me to do? She goes, I want you to come with me to Dallas, Texas. There's a live event. It's a 2-day event. You'll get to actually meet the real people. You'll see that there are real people doing this company, doing this business. So I reluctantly get on that plane, fly from San Diego to Dallas. We leave our baby girl with my mom, and we go off to this thing. And I'm at the event, and I'm sitting in the back of the room, arms crossed, thinking, man, what a load of crap. And they start parading all these top earners up, and they've got their nice suits on and their big shiny watches and their bling. and they've got those big kind of phony checks, the big ones that they're about the size of like a poster board. And they've got these big numbers on these checks, like multiple 6-figure earnings. I'm thinking, there is no way you made that kind of money doing this. There's no way. There's no way. This is a load of crap. And I thought it was kind of hypey and kind of campy. So to me, the type A left brain, whatever you want to call it, Navy pilot was thinking there's no tangibility to this. And then they go, hey, we want to welcome our rising stars. And they start welcoming this kid's got this like moppy blonde hair, like looks like a surfer dude, ends up being some guy that had made a lot of money in the industry. He's only like 25 years old. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. There's no way. His name was Brian Finale, by the way. The next guy they bring up is this kind of, this quiet, reserved, almost demure kind of guy, but a nice guy. And he's the next rising star. And his name is Norbert. And I'm like, okay. But so what you're showing me is that some surfer dude and some quiet guy can do really well. And then they go, our third rising star is Mia deBolt, my wife. Now I have to tell you, I'm sitting in the back of the room and I'm thinking to myself, what a jackass. Like, I have been so closed off, so negative about this. And she's showing through hard work, not through talk, right? Not through going on Facebook and talking about I'm going to hustle my face off and watch me go. She wasn't doing any of that. She was just getting to work. And it showed me that this industry can support those people that have had lots of experience. It can support the surfer dude. It can support the quiet, kind of introverted person. And it can support the person that had the negative spouse. That's what shifted for me. And that moment, it went from being about Mia to her saying, there's greatness inside you, JT, and there's an entire industry of people that need your help. Your leadership, your perseverance, your ability to think strategically and help them build a plan to get where they are, from where they are to where they want to be. You are leaving your gift on the table if you don't help those people. And so that was the next domino that basically fell in a career that's now spanned over 11 years. We're in our 11th year of business. I got out in 2008 and haven't had a job since. So this industry can do that for you. It also helped me transition into the industry that I've done very well in, and that's, the speaking, the coaching, and the consulting world. So the message here is it doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what your experience level is. Doesn't even matter if you came into this thinking this is it. You might be that person right now that's super negative, or that person that doesn't believe in it. And that's okay. That's totally okay. My challenge to you, my finger in the chest to you, is to see if you can let your guard down just long enough to get the details, to get the facts, and to see if it can be real. Because it is real, but it has to be real for you. Because that's what I had to find out for myself, and I'm living proof. We have an amazing lifestyle now and 2 beautiful kids, and we have a lot of freedom, and more importantly, get the opportunity to work with amazing people now. And that would not have been possible if it weren't for this industry.
Wow, man, that's awesome. And I remember, you skipped the part where you were like getting, choked up at our event this past week and telling that story. And really, it was your gratitude for your wife, Mia. And she's amazing. I've had the opportunity to talk to her. And so what I want to do is close this incredible live. We've gone a little long, but with good reason. I just wanted to announce to everybody here at Elite Marketing Pro, first and foremost, if you're new to this and watching this and are inspired by this story and want to know what we do here at Elite Marketing Pro, then simply go to elitemarketingpro.com or click on the link in the description if someone shared this with you, so you can learn more about how we help people build network marketing and direct selling businesses using the internet, using social media recruiting strategies, as well as more advanced and leveraged online recruiting strategies. But what I want to announce here is that JT is actually joining the Elite Marketing Pro team. He will be coming on as our Director of Leadership and Professional Development. And one of his chief responsibilities is to make sure is to make our Daily Dose of Awesome even more impactful and valuable than it already is. And so JT's taking over, the scheduling, leadership around Daily Dose of Awesome, as well as other leadership capacities that we'll be rolling out in the next couple of weeks. But JT's joining the team exclusively for Elite Marketing Pro, and I couldn't be happier to have him. We've just been so impressed with the work that he's done for us. And so JT, man, so happy to have you on as part of our team. I know that our community and our all our members are in are in need of what you can provide. It's that mental game. But also it's having the tools, the emotional and the mental tools to be able to not only deal with adversity, but help people reach their goals, their missions, even faster than they're already set out to do. So thank you so much, JT, and welcome to the team, man. Any thoughts on your new role here at Elite Marketing Pro?
Well, I will say this. The thoughts that I have on the role is that I'm thrilled, I'm very grateful, and I'm very humbled. I'm thrilled because this is exactly the kind of thing that I can sink my teeth into. It's definitely in my wheelhouse. I feel like what you and Matt and Tim have built here requires me to be at my best, right? So that's a cool personal challenge. But that aside, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you guys have put so much of your time, energy, and focus, so much of your heart and soul into building something that's as high caliber as it is. You really set the bar tremendously high, not just for the people who come here and work with you as EMP members, but really for the entire industry. And that's the part that I'm really pumped about. And I'm humbled because you have entrusted me. You've called upon me and said, hey, can you be a part of our team? Can you help our members become even better than they already are? That's a huge undertaking, and something that I woke up this morning, I was so pumped, man. And you talked about getting choked up at the event when I was talking about my wife. I actually got a little bit choked up this morning even thinking about it. I was like, I feel like the luckiest guy in the world. I feel like I have won, sort of the purpose lottery, if you will, by being tapped on the shoulder by you three amazing guys and your staff. Your staff is so incredible. The kind of people that really genuinely love and believe in your vision, but also love and believe in the people that come here. And then ultimately this awesome community. So dude, I'm pumped, man. And I'm ready. Let's take on the world. Let's help a lot of people, but also let's help them help themselves and set the tone and make this industry as great as it's capable of becoming.
Awesome, man. Guys, if you are excited about JT being a part of our Elite Marketing Pro team, drop me a number 7. We've been in need. Give me a number 7 if you're excited. We've been in need of somebody taking on that professional and leadership development role for quite a while. We are awesome at the marketing stuff. We are awesome at the nuts and bolts. But I think also people need the tools to be able to deal with the adversity and be able to achieve the goals, the marketing goals that they've set off to achieve, their income goals. It's not just about the tangible nuts and bolts, clicks and traffic and click-through rates and all that stuff and conversion rates. It's also about the mental game. And, I'm excited that you're going to be helping our people develop that side of their game as well, their inner game. And again, I could go on, JT, but I'm super pumped. The community's dropping 7s like crazy. I see 777s. Go Vegas.
Awesome.
So JT, thanks for being on. We've gotten a little long here, but people have stayed on diligently listening to your inspiring story, and they can't wait to hear more, and I can't wait to hear more either.
I'm looking forward to being a part of it, brother. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
All right, man. Take care, everybody. We will see you tomorrow with our next Daily Dose of Awesome. Take care.